Hi, everyone. Remember one of our earlier episodes on impact entrepreneurship, where I talked about the wisdom in Charles Darwin's quote on the type of species that survive? I'll link that episode in the show notes and reiterate the same quote for us right now. Darwin said that it is not the strongest of the species that survives, nor the most intelligent that survives. It is the one that is most adaptive to change that survives. Today, as we cut through the legal jargon and tech noise to talk about a hot topic in tech, I want you to remember the importance of being adaptable in life. We'll deep dive into the swirling vortex of TikTok for you, especially if you are a TikTok creator. If you've been impacted by the TikTok ban or are watching your platform evolve before your eyes, then this episode is for you. Powered with the wisdom of Darwin yet again, I'm going to give you a blueprint for not just surviving this shift, but thriving in an era where creators have the chance to become truly independent no matter what platform you're on. Together, let's answer the question looming over every TikTok creator's head. What happens when the platforms we build our businesses with hard work on suddenly disappears? I'm Chani Srivastav, wearing my tech lawyer hat today for you. And this is the Lock, Stock and Barrel podcast. Let's dive right in. For years, creators have built massive communities on platforms like TikTok. But here's the thing. Realistically, the platform that you've spent hours perfecting your content on could be gone tomorrow or even today. It could be banned, it could change its algorithm, or worse yet, it could implode like so many others did before this one. When a platform goes down or changes the rules, creators face massive consequences. You've likely seen how your views and business can take a hit when an algorithm changes. That's not just frustrating, it's destabilizing. As AI becomes more powerful, we all know what it's built on. It's solely built on our collective data. That's where the ethical questions arise. Who owns this data? How is it used? And most importantly, who controls the algorithms that make decisions on our behalf? In this episode, we're going to explore these questions in the context of one of the most talked about apps of our times, TikTok. But trust me, this discussion isn't just about whether TikTok should be banned or not, but it's about understanding how AI, data privacy, and corporate power interact and how those dynamics are shaping the digital world we live in. And don't worry, I won't let you go without giving you some actionable advice on how to and why you must get out of what I call is the platform dependency trap once and for all. All right, let's start with the basics of TikTok. TikTok has been under intense scrutiny, as you know, for many years now, not just because it's a widely popular app, but also because of its potential impact on data privacy and national security. The US government has been concerned that TikTok's parent company, ByteDance, might be using the platform to gather data on American users or even push Chinese government's interests. That's been the driving narrative behind various attempts to ban TikTok in the US and around the world, especially since 2020. But here's where things get complicated. While the US government has raised these concerns, there's been no concrete evidence presented, or at least not publicly, that TikTok is actively sharing with the Chinese government its data or manipulating its algorithm for political purposes. So far, the accusations are just based on fears and not facts. Now, why should this concern you as a user or an influencer on TikTok? Or really, for any app that collects your data? The answer lies in understanding how the platform operates. TikTok's algorithm is powered by AI. It learns from your interactions, what you watch, what you like, what you comment on, and it curates your feed based on that particular data. The more it knows about you, the more it can predict what content you'll engage with next. But who is in control of that data? And what ethical considerations are we overlooking when it comes to AI driven platforms like TikTok? Well, now let's zoom out for a moment, as this isn't just about TikTok. The broader issue here is the intersection of money, power, and ethics in tech. It's about how major tech companies, with their vast financial resources and political influence, shape the laws that govern data privacy as well as tech like artificial intelligence. In the case of TikTok, you have a global tech giant ByteDance at the center of a multi-billion-dollar industry. It's not just an app, it's a massive player in the global economy. And that's where things start getting a little murky. When you have such large financial stakes in play, it's not only about the business side of things, it's also about how these companies influence the laws and regulations that affect how your data is used. Take a look at the political push for TikTok bans. At times, it seems like key figures who were once vocal about the need to protect data privacy and security have shifted their stances today. In some cases, those shifts align with larger political donations or even business interests. I'm not saying there's a direct connection between campaign contributions and policy changes, but it's clear that money, politics, and ethics are intertwined in the tech world. And as consumers or influencers on any of these apps, we need to be aware of how these factors influence the products that we use and the policies that regulate these products. This is where the perspective of independent technologists become incredibly valuable. Take the independent technologist Robin Burgeon, for example, an advocate for the hashtag Free the Feed movement. Burgeon argues that we need digital infrastructure that operates under a social contract benefiting everyone and not just the few. What does this mean in the context of TikTok and the broader tech ecosystem? Well, it simply means that right now our digital infrastructure is dominated by a handful of tech giants that operates in a way that primarily benefits these companies which sit at the top. These platforms, which are the Facebooks, the TikToks, the Twitters, the X's of the world, have become the public square of the digital age. And guess what? They're controlled by billionaires and corporations with their own vested interests. We've seen what happens when this system is left unchecked. Platforms like Facebook and Twitter end up silencing voices, amplifying division, or even meddling with elections. This is why the need of a new kind of tech ecosystem is more urgent than ever. Burgeon's call to free the feed isn't just about creating a new social platform. It's about reimagining how social media and digital spaces could operate together. It's about making sure that the digital world serves the interests of users, not just the companies that profit from them. It's ultimately about democratizing the internet. Imagine a space where everyone has an equal say, an equal choice, and control over how information flows. The very AI algorithms that govern what we see online could become more transparent, more ethical, and most importantly, under our control. That's the kind of digital infrastructure we need in our world today. But here's where things get even more fascinating. TikTok is not the end of the story. It might just be the beginning of something much, much bigger. The narrative we are hearing about banning TikTok for privacy issues in various countries across the globe misses the larger point. You'll find resources in the description box below that elaborate on this point even further, but for now, suffice it to say that privacy issues aren't exclusive to TikTok alone. Even most of the US tech giants are notorious for being government friendly when it comes to handing over our crucial data to the authorities. Every single app on your phone, from Instagram to Facebook to Twitter to TikTok, has the exact same potential to collect, store, and even sell your data. But let's also take a moment to consider this. Could it be that we're seeing a battle over something even bigger than privacy? Could it be that China's rise in tech is simply a reflection of its growing innovation in areas like AI, while Silicon Valley in the US has been lagging behind? I'll leave that here for you to give it a think. And I'll try to explain this with the India example, as it's perfect for this point. When India banned TikTok in 2020, many predicted the end of the creator economy in the region. But what happened instead? The energy of creativity didn't stop, it actually evolved. Indian creators took the lessons learned on TikTok and exploded into new formats, building new localized apps and platforms, and ultimately created an entire ecosystem of new content altogether. TikTok may have been a stepping stone for them, but it was by no means the end of creativity. And now, fast forward to today, we're entering an era where platforms may not even be necessary at all. This is the emerging trend that I was talking about in the beginning that will automatically help creators wean off from practically every platform. And the trend is about the rise of AI powered tools. Think AI movie making software and virtual world building platforms. All of it is shifting the landscape, even if you can't see it so palpably right now. I believe that in this new era, creators no longer need to depend on a single platform to make a living or reach an audience. They have the tools to build entire immersive experiences, marketplaces, and even their own virtual storefronts, all without needing TikTok or any other platform at all. The platform dependency trap, as I call it, is starting to dissolve. And in its place, creator independence is blossoming. This is what I see as a technological inevitability, the shift from platform dependence to creator independence. And I don't think this is a passing trend. The future is going to be shaped by those who recognize that anyone can now wield motion picture level creative power, build retail options, and create entire virtual worlds for their product if they are creative enough. And if you take the time during this pause, which is induced by this TikTok ban, you will realize that the power is finally in the hands of creators and not in the hands of large tech corporations. Now, let's get into that actionable advice on platform dependency that I was about to give you and explain to you why you should stop it now. My first advice to you would be to stop relying on algorithms. Let me repeat this. Do not rely too heavily on algorithms. Yes, they drive traffic. Yes, they help content go viral. But like I said earlier, when the algorithm shifts, so does your identity. Algorithms determine what you create, how you create it, and even how you're perceived. But remember, they're fickle, they change all the time. And if you build your entire identity around an algorithm that could flip tomorrow, you're putting your business and your personal brand in a very precarious position. So, what can you do? Take a step back and ask yourself, who am I without this platform? And if the answer is I don't know, it's time to reframe how you build your community and your identity online. My second advice would be to understand how your data is handled, collected, and used. Let's talk about something else you need to start thinking about, especially if you're considering moving to a new platform or jumping on the latest trending app instead of TikTok. As I have now routinely advised on matters around these subjects for years now, I can tell you that TikTok or any other app you decide to move on to, even if it's Instagram or YouTube, it's definitely collecting data on you. And if you are building your business on that platform, they are collecting data on your audience too. So, how do you really know what's happening with your data and how that data might be used against you? The sad truth is, most users, creators included, don't know the full extent and don't understand the full extent of what's happening to their information behind the scenes. Before you move to a new app or a platform, take a hard look at the privacy policies. Yes, I know they're long, I know they're boring, but as a creator in today's data driven world, you have to be aware of what you're agreeing to. Let me give you a list of three things that you must check for, if nothing else. First, what data do they collect? Is it personal information, location, behavioral patterns? Second, how is that data used? Does this particular app or platform share it with third parties? And third, how is your content handled? Do they own your content or is it yours to keep? If a platform asks for way more data than you think it should, consider that a red flag. And the thing that I'd urge you to get into the habit of doing in this regard is to educate yourself on data privacy laws and how they impact you and your business online. Begin simply by exercising control. Control over your data, control over your creativity, and ultimately control over the future of the internet. Whether it's TikTok or some new AI tool that lets you build your own world, the question will still remain: who controls it? Who benefits from your time, your data, and your creativity? Be mindful of how your data is being used. Pay attention to the ethical frameworks or the lack thereof behind these apps that you use. And always think critically about how much power you're giving to the platforms that shape your digital life. After you've understood the importance of controlling your data, it's worthwhile to get acquainted with the data privacy regulations that are applicable to you and your business. So, just to give you an idea on the global scale, the General Data Protection Regulations, or the GDPR, in the European Union is the gold standard for data privacy laws. The GDPR imposes strict rules on how companies must handle personal data, including how they obtain consent, how long they can retain the data for, and how transparent they must be with the users about what's being done with their data. But if we talk about a business that has operations just in the US, then you should know that there is no one law that regulates the entire country when it comes to data protection. Instead, there is a patchwork of state data privacy laws that have created increasing compliance obligations for businesses who operate in the US territory. In 2019, the US data privacy framework changed significantly with the emergence of CCPA, which is the California Consumer Privacy Act, which created a significant compliance burden for most businesses that collect personal information about California residents. Since then, activity at the state level has increased as more states look to establish data privacy laws in the absence of a comprehensive data privacy law at the federal level. Currently, a total of 21 states have passed comprehensive data privacy laws in the US alone. Now, I know what you must be thinking, especially as a TikTok creator at the moment. These laws are constantly evolving, and they can be so hard to keep up with, especially when tech companies operate across borders. In that situation, what do you do? Of course, this is a legitimate concern. We all have seen how TikTok has faced scrutiny in several countries for a few years now for being unable to protect user privacy or for not complying with some local regulation or the other. And I can understand that as a user or a creator, this can be overwhelming. It can be nearly impossible to track your data, how it's being used and handled in all these different jurisdictions. In such a situation where you find yourself being overwhelmed, where your business is online and you need a data strategy, then first I would encourage you to reach out to a tech lawyer to review the nuances of each applicable law. This way, they'll be able to identify its specific obligations and consider the business impacts of these requirements for you. And if you're at an advanced stage of your business online, then in my opinion, this is the shortest and easiest way to effectively implement a compliance program with minimal disruption to your business operations. And if you're just a user and want to be more conscious, then of course, the more you understand regulations and policies, the better equipped you will be to protect your personal information online. Still, apart from this, what else can you do as a user on an individual level to protect yourselves? Well, I'll give you the top three actionable suggestions that you can implement beginning today. First, be proactive on a daily basis rather than waiting for the day your app goes dark. Start by paying attention to the privacy policies and terms of service for every app that you use. Of course, there are many experts like me who can help you interpret them for your needs and build a strategy around it, but you can do that for yourself by beginning to get familiar with such documents. While they're often long and full of legal jargon, it's crucial to at least skim through them initially to understand what data is being collected, how it's being used, and who it might be shared with, like I mentioned earlier. Second, use the privacy settings available to you in your phone. Many platforms, including TikTok, give you control over what data they collect and how it's used. Make sure you're taking advantage of these settings to limit the data that is being shared. And third, be cautious about the content you post and share. The more personal information you provide, the more data there is to be mined. It's not about living in fear of technology, it's about living mindfully. So, when it comes to AI and ethics, we all have a role to play in ensuring that our data remains under our own control. Coming back to our topic of platform dependence, the third point that I would like to make is about creator independence. From where I'm standing, I can see that we are on the precipice of a massive shift. The kind of shift that experts have been predicting for years, and I'm confirming to you right now that it's happening. We're moving from platform dependency to creator independence, whether we like it or not. Social platforms like TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, they're all great. I use them too. But they definitely come with some sort of strings attached. They control everything from how you engage with your audience to how much money you can ultimately make on these platforms. By virtue of being a woman in tech, here's what I see happening with AI in our very near future. Hollywood grade AI tools are going to be at your fingertips very, very soon. And the writing on the wall cannot be more clear. Creators don't need platforms to build powerful experiences anymore. You can create your own world with your imagination. You can build a community. You can sell your own products, and you don't need middlemen anymore. Think about it. With private spaces like closed groups, membership sites, or even on your own website, creators get to have total control. We can own our data, we can own our content, and also the experiences we want to create for our audiences. That's where the shift is going to be into private spaces, which brings us to our fourth point: the rise of private spaces and immersive experiences. Imagine this: you're building an exclusive community for your followers. Think of it like a VIP club. This space isn't just a place to share content. It's an experience, so you can host live events, launch exclusive products, interact in deeper ways with your fans, and even offer personalized services, which the platform that you use at the moment might not allow. And this is not a far off dream. It's already happening. So, as a creator, you can start thinking about creating spaces where you can connect directly with your audience, whether it's a private Discord server, a Patreon account, or even your own custom built platform. The tools to build these spaces are already out there. You have the power to bring the world to you and to your audience without asking for permissions and without living in fear of a ban or even an algorithm change. Finally, you're probably thinking, how do I make this shift to greater independence? Well, let me be honest here. It's simple, but it's not easy. First, you build your own community and not just an audience. Engagement here is key. So instead of posting and waiting for likes and shares, start conversation. Get to know your audience on a deeper level. Second, own your platform. Whether it's a website, a mailing list, or a private group, start collecting contact information and data from your audience directly. Don't rely on someone else's database, build your own. The third would be diversifying your income streams. As a creator, relying solely on ad revenue or sponsorships can be very, very risky. So, set up a direct to consumer or a D2C model with product sales, memberships, and exclusive content that help you diversify your income streams. And the fourth would be to embrace the tools that are available to you. If you're not already experimenting with AI, now's the time to begin. I shall be sharing my thoughts on the ways to effectively use AI in the subsequent episodes, where I'll discuss the need for ethical frameworks around tech in general. I say this because many tech pessimists hold the view that using AI tools is akin to compromising one's data. And while they won't be entirely wrong in saying this, there are many ways in which one can use these tools without compromising their personal data. But more on that later. Finally, as we wrap up today, remember what Darwin said about the species that survives? That adaptability and control are your greatest assets as a creator in this fast evolving digital landscape. While platforms like TikTok may offer immense opportunities, the reality is that they and the algorithms that power them are unpredictable. This doesn't have to be a source of anxiety. Rather, it should be a call to action. It's time for creators to begin building independent ecosystems like we discussed today, where they aren't beholden to the whims of an algorithm or the uncertain fate of a platform. We've touched on the potential consequences of giving too much control to tech giants and the value of securing one's data. But what truly matters for you as a creator is not just being aware of these issues, it's about taking action to ensure you're in the driver's seat of your own creative and financial future while you're dealing with these apps. By embracing emerging AI tools, developing your own private spaces, lobbying for an ethical framework to govern these emerging technologies, and building a community that doesn't rely solely on the algorithm, you're future proofing your brand and your own voice. These aren't just trends, they are the future of the creator economy. And as we close, I want to leave you with this thought: the internet and the opportunities within it are vast and open to those who are prepared to explore beyond the platforms they've relied on till date. The power is in your hands. Don't just adapt to the changes, shape them. Own your content, protect your data, educate yourself, and most importantly, remember that your creative voices, free from corporate interference, powered with ethical frameworks, can have a deeper, more lasting impact than ever before. I can totally understand that today's topic could have sparked some questions in your mind, and I'll be happy to talk to you about them. You can find my contact information in the description box below as usual, and you can feel free to reach out to me or the Locks Online office for the same. If you found this episode insightful, share it with a friend and make sure you subscribe so you don't miss our next deep dive. You can find all the links to the LTP podcast in the show notes below, and you can choose the platform where you get your podcasts and subscribe to us there. I look forward to welcoming you in the LTB community and hearing from you about this or any other episode of your choice. Thanks for tuning in to the Lock, Stock and Barrel podcast. Until next time, stay informed, stay vigilant, and keep thinking critically about the tech you use every day. This is Chani Srivastav signing off.